Hi everyone. Now, have you watched one of them videos where it says, I bet you wouldn't last 5 minutes in the medieval period and you wouldn't really do any good in the medieval period? I find this statement really bad, actually, and them videos really annoy me. First of all, I've had a million inoculations since childbirth, which probably means I'm far more capable of dealing with lots of the diseases, that come along this way. Yes, maybe I'm used to cleaner water and I'm used to this, but I'd probably be just getting pissed in a tavern somewhere with the rest of the population who drink beer because the water's not thin enough. But I'd be inoculated up to the eyeballs, and I'm probably bigger and stronger than most medieval people because I've had a much better diet in my time. But anyway, we could debate that all day. That's not the question. The question is, would a medieval person do well today? That's my question. Would a medieval person do well today? My name's Anthony Cummins and I'm the author of How to Be a Modern Samurai. Please get yourself a copy, and there's these books behind me. But what I find interesting is that if you took a medieval person out of, let's say the 13 to the 1600s, and let's get around the idea of language being slightly different, not massively different, but enough that there's a difference, and you put them in today and you say to them, right, you've come from a place where on the whole there is stability. This is where it gets crazy, because historians are, it's not stable here, it's not, but history is very easy to understand that most of the time it's stable. You're living where you live for generations upon generations, and your local area, you know it very well. You have festivals, you have churches, you have places of different places of worship, different folklore, different things that go on, and you all come together. Some people hate each other. Village life is not wonderful, it's not amazing, but you have a very stable community. There's the possibility of invasion, there's a possibility of disease, but that exists today. So, I never understood that. They say, they could be invaded anytime. How many invasions happen today? And look at Ukraine and Russia and all that. Look at anything in the last 100 years, and to say, did invasions happen within our lifetime? Like medieval times, most of the time you're just farming, you're cracking on with life. So the medieval person turns up today and he's like, right, Sunday, day off, not doing anything, go to my local church, and we're all going to have basically a picnic afterwards, going to hang around in the graveyard, and we're all going to have literally fire in the streets and get warm. It's winter, we'll get warm, we'll enjoy ourselves. We'll have what? I've got to go to work? Yeah, don't get a day. Your day off's not the same as everybody else. But I want to integrate with my local community and chat, and I'm looking forward to seeing Bob at the tavern. And oh no, Bob's on a different shift now. You don't see Bob anymore. You might have done, but you'll probably get together with Bob probably 3 or 4 times over the year because your shift patterns don't work anymore. Oh, right. Well, that's a bit weird. That's a bit strange, right then. Well, it's the feast of St. Gertrude next week, so never mind, we'll have plum pudding. No, we don't follow that saint anymore. In fact, we no longer bother with saints' days. You are allotted 21 days out of the year to have off, and you can't have them off with your friends because we need to keep the company commerce going. So even though you've made your friends within your work, you cannot have the same time off as them. You've got to off with somebody else you don't really talk to. What do you mean? I can't have off with my friends. No, they've got a different shift pattern to you. Oh, right, okay, then, well, never mind. I'll just go to work. It's just downstairs in my workshop, or it's in the field there, which I can see there. Within a few hundred yards, within a mile, within whatever. I can walk to work in 10. Oh, no. You're going to have to commute, and you're going to have to commute for an hour and a half, and you're going to pay to get to work. What do you mean I'm going to pay to get to work? Yeah, you're going to pay. You're going to walk to a bus stop. You're going to pay in the rain and the wind, and you're going to pay to get on a bus, and then you're going to change over. This is something I had to do about 30 minutes in, and then get on another bus and get you off to another place, and then you'll walk further. Then you'll go in a lift, and you'll go up, and you'll get out in an office, and the office, I can imagine it now, I was there when I was 19, has literally it's got this film on the window so that you can't really see the sun. So when it's winter time, you'll arrive when it's dark, and you'll leave when it's dark, and you probably won't see the daylight 5 days a week, and that's it. Oh, right, well, I'm used to working in my workshop, which is part of my house, or I brew beer from my house, or the woman's brewing, women brew beer a lot. And, I worked in the workshop just down below. Well, yeah, no. Now, let's just say, almost the equivalent of an entire day from the time you wake up to the time you go to sleep will now be taken up with you riding a bus with people that are not very nice and possibly dangerous, and you might be attacked now. We've got massive immigration and there's attacks on buses, but you might get knifed in the neck and things like that. Do you enjoy that? Okay, right, that's a weird situation to be in. Why don't you just hang the people who've been knifing people in the neck? Oh no, we go through loads of problems with sorting them out, yeah. And they say, oh well, people have immigrated, yeah, well, get them out. Oh no, we don't do that. They just come now. Don't matter whether they belong here or not, or whether they add to the society or don't add to the society, or make it. Yeah, no, we just let them anywhere they go. Oh right. Well, what about the local lord? Pull up the militia and round them up and put them to work or something. No, we just pay for them to sit down and do nothing. Hold on, you just told me I've got to get a bus to go to work, and I'm not allowed to hang out with my friends. I can't have time with my friends, and I can't get the same days off as my friends or family. So why are they off all day and they're not doing that much? Oh, we're not allowed to work here. They don't have a visa. Well, what are they doing here then? Oh, we let them here, but they can't work, so we'll pay for them. In fact, you pay for them, and you're not allowed. You're not allowed to worry about your religion anymore. Like, so so okay. I've done all that. I'm really religious. I'm gonna go to my church and pray every morning. No, you can't do that. Are you a Muslim? No. Well, if you're Muslim, you can do it. If you're a Christian, don't even ask. You can sod off. Well, what if I'm not a Christian or a Muslim and I'm just spiritual and I think I should take some time out to... No, you got to work. Basically. All right, so what's this work that I've got to do then? Well, sit in front of this computer and you see these numbers here. You just done a data entry them or something like that. Or you're going to fold that envelope and put it in the post and do that. Or you'll stand at a Tesco queue and people will do this. This is a barcode. We're going to scan it for you. There you go. And they're going to tap this card on and you make sure. And they're like, well, them machines do it over there. Yeah, I know, but you're going to sit and you're going to absolutely just sit there, monotonously do that for the rest of your life. And then just before you die, you'll have some time off, but you probably won't have enough money left over from the pension, which you'll pay into, because we spend that on the other people coming here and immigration who don't work. Right, okay, well, and then at this point, the medieval person's like, I don't think I can survive it. No. He picks up his knife, his sword, and he's like, right, let's go into blaze of fire. I'm going to invade. Crusade. Let's go. Do you know what I mean? So I always find it funny when people say, yeah, would you survive in a medieval world? I actually think medieval life would be better than today. And I know people go, oh, no, it wouldn't. You got this, you got low sugar, extreme low sugar. If you haven't died as an infant, right, you're going to be pretty robust, let's be honest. I went and stayed with a tribe in Africa, and the simple fact is they had a low mortality rate. Why? Because everybody who died in childbirth. And this is where you get these stupid graphs where it's like, oh, these people never live past 45 because we've put all their ages in one bucket and we've used mode, medium, and mean to calculate. We've used the wrong one, and you're all 45 when you die. Nobody sees grey age, die at 45. It's not true. In this village in Africa, they were the fittest people I've ever seen. This is what put me for medieval, made me realise about medieval people. They were the fittest people you have ever seen, these Africans, and they had a high infant mortality rate, but those that survived were cream of the crop, rise to the top. Come on, sing with me. Name that song. And they were strong, powerful people. And they looked like models after them. They were like literally survival of the fittest, which meant you got the next generation were very fit and they survived, and you got a lot of this. And yes, there was famine. Yes, there was this. But we have obesity. So for the amount of people that die of famine in the old days, how many people have died of obesity today? How many people have died of diabetes, heart attack, and everything because they don't have any starvation periods? Now, autophagy is one of the major things I've been looking at, things like this, talking about, or looking at, is the idea that you need to starve for over 24 hours to kick in ketosis, which then kicks in autophagy. And autophagy is where your body will eat the corrupt cells inside you. So I genuinely think, whether it's like ancient knowledge, ancient wisdom, I genuinely think ancient people used to fast, and they fasted a lot. They got it right because that makes you fitter. And I really don't agree with this idea that people were just dropping left, right and centre when it was medieval periods. I don't believe it. I don't agree with it. What would be the case is that people would die at a high percentage in youth. And then after that, you would then if you caught an incurable disease such as tuberculosis, or you've got appendicitis, one of those things that we can fix today and you survive, then you would die. We would have problems if we were back in, times. What I would like somebody to do realistically is do an analysis of tooth decay within skeletons which did not die of old age, which died of wounds or accidents or disease in their prime. So you get your 20 to 30-year-olds, 20 to 40-year-olds, and see how bad tooth decay was. Now, this becomes an issue because it's each society will be down. Like, for example, if you're a mead-driven drinking society, then you're on honeyed sugar, you're going to have a high percentage of tooth decay. If you're not, and you might have a high percentage of plaque. But you want to find that, or what about a tea, the Japanese for drinking tea, and less sugar orientated stuff, and see the physical health of these people. So when people say to me, oh, you wouldn't survive in medieval periods and all this, I look about me at the obese, and especially American Walmart, people doing crazy things because there's no retaliation, you know what I mean? And I wonder what it would be like for a medieval person to turn up here, get through the language barrier and go, wow, I emotionally cannot live like this. You want me to dreary away my life on a computer. You want me to just go to the same place day in, day out. And then we say to them, but you're medieval, you did the same thing every day. And they're like, no, I didn't. We had a seasonal year, which we then did ploughing season. We did planting season. We did seasons where and I promise you, I am living in a farming area. They've got nothing to do while crops are growing. So they have a million other jobs that they do, build this barn and do that. But if you've got a big oak timber frame barn and you've got your day is spent sort of sorting out bits and bats around the farm and cleaning up and all that, but there's a heavy amount of festivals. I think it's one of the Monty Python crew ones, I cannot remember for the life of me, who, while comedians, are all well educated, and he came on and did some study, and he said actually there are more days off in medieval period times than there are today. You had an easier time of it back then, and you would work with the sun. You didn't have to just get up in the lashing rain and go out in the lashing rain and just sit there freezing. You didn't do it. You sort of worked with the seasons. Now, there are differences that, for example, because they didn't have pesticides and things like that, they used to hire children who used to be freezing, so I'm not saying the medieval period was this amazing place, but what I'm saying is, I think the way we look at, annoyingly, this is the crux of my video. If you try to say medieval life was good, somebody will say, oh, this is merry old England, this is nonsense, they didn't have a good time, they all lived in horrible times and ate mud and worms and had no teeth. And I'm like, no, they didn't. And I think they had a colourful, interesting, percentage-wise shorter life, better health, but less disease curation, whatever you want to call it. They couldn't cure many diseases, and you died more in childbirth. But in that section behind it, you're a physically better person, in my opinion, and you had a better standard of life in essence of freedoms. If you want to start a fire, you can start a fire. You want to collect some wood, you can collect some wood. Do you know, I can't go out and if I'm cold, I can't start a fire anywhere in England. Not only that, they're trying to stop us with our log burners now. So not only can you, so they want you on the national grid. You're like, oh, I'm going to collect wood. Well, you can't collect wood here because you're not allowed. But before the enclosures, there was like a new wood. You had rights to collect wood, and you had rights to this and rights to that. Now, there might be some medievalists who say, well, there is problems here. And I'm sure there is. Nothing is black and white, guys. And I'm trying to say there's this amazing time here and there's this not amazing time here. What I'm saying is, when we look at the medieval period, you've got to really understand that there are nuances there, but it is not thunder and lightning, rain, woe is me, the tyrant at the top going rah, 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 rah. That's a Disney story. And nowadays it's not, we're all having fun, everything's great, and you've all got national health. Have we really? So that's the medium in the middle. So what do you think about that, guys? If you've got to the end of this video, what do you think? My name is Anthony Cummins. I'm the author of How to Be a Modern Samurai. If you want to really, really help me, you can buy me a coffee, link below. And you can also pre-order my book, Zen and the Samurai Sword. Pre-orders always help. Thank you very much.